his nostrils don't stink in our nostrils anymore. But David said, I'm anointed for this.
Yes.
And see, what you anointed for, you attracted.
Yes.
David was on the run because the very person that he's supposed to be serving and helping wanted to kill him because jealousy. See, when you're not securing who you are, you will kill those that are called to help you.
Yes.
Amen.
David was sent to be a son to Saul. Every time the demon would come, David would play and the demon would leave because of David's anointing. But Saul started feeling threatened. He's like, I got to kill him because he's going to take Jonathan's place. And Jonathan had a revelation. He was like, he's supposed to have the throne. It ain't even mine. God, that's God's anointing. But the Bible says every time David would walk off, Saul would be throwing a javelin at him, about pin him to the wall. So finally, David had to split. Saul's daughter, Michal, helped David escape. He was coming in there to kill him. David hiding. He disgruntled. He in the cave. He don't know what to do. And the Bible says that these, how many mighty men? 300 men? Or 400? 400 men. They wasn't mighty then, Sister Kim. The Bible said they was in debt. They was discontent and destitute. Showed up all the 3 Ds. That's where 3D come from. 3D. In debt, discouraged, destitute. And they showed up and they saw David in the cave and they like, you gonna be our leader. And David like, I ain't much of a leader right now. I'm running just like you're running. But the Bible said that those men joined themselves to David.
Yes.
And that anointing that was on David came on them. And the Bible say that eventually there was no military that could stand in front of them because they would take you out.
Yes.
I told y'all the story. One of David's mighty men had a bean patch, and some of the enemies came on try to jack his bean. And he said, bless God, you ain't taking none of my beans. And he stood there in the middle of his guard, and he killed a whole army. And so when his partners finally rolled up on him, they had to open his hand to get the sword out. He was still holding on to the sword, looking for an enemy. How could he do that? Because what was on David got on them. Because David was a mighty man of valor, they ended up becoming mighty men of valor. Y'all know Joab there was some bad boys.
Yes, they were.
And that was another time David was just thinking out loud. And he said, man, I'd love to have some water from that well of my father's. 2 of his men heard that and said, we got to make that a reality. The Bible say that they fought through a whole army. Killed a whole army to get to the well to get David a drink of water, brought it back and say, here, my Lord. And he poured it out and said, I'm not even worthy to drink it. Now, I'm trying to show you how bad these dudes were. You did not want to mess with these guys. So much so that the only way Uriah the Hittite died is that they had to play like they were going forward with him and draw back and leave him out there by himself to be killed. So whatever you connect with should be coming on your life. That's why it's important you get straight what's on you. I don't know what's on me, but don't connect with nobody. Because you don't want to produce a bunch of spiritual wimps.
Yeah.
Okay. Say the enemies of God. Oh, God. Go to Luke 19. Are y'all getting anything out of this?
Yes.
Luke 19:26. Jesus said, I tell you that everyone who has more, is that the right? Okay. Everyone who has more shall be given, but the one who does not have, even what he does, shall be taken away. Verse 27. But these enemies of mine, who did not want me to reign over them, bring them here and slay them in my presence. He wants to see you kill his enemies. How do you think God feels when we entertain his enemies? When we sit down and have a tea party, start passing out the cookies and the teacups. And that's the thing that Jesus said, bring in my presence and destroy it. You got to have a burden to destroy the enemies of God. Guess what? Because if you don't, guess who's going to end up winning? In your life anyway. But I just like hanging out with some of the enemies. I don't even know how to address that. I really don't. I mean, I don't have a deep answer for that one. I really don't. That's almost like somebody raped one of your family members, but y'all keep hanging out at the Cracker Barrel every week. I really don't know how to address that. It's ludicrous. I mean, do y'all realize there was an awesome price paid to save us? Jesus really paid it all.
Yes.
And all to him we owe. Well, destroy everything that is trying to contradict what he established. Okay. Enemies of God. I'm going to keep it moving. Matthew 23. Matthew 23. So we got kingdoms, burden for kingdoms, burden for people, right?
Yes.
What's the next one? Demonic systems. Then what's the next one? Enemies of God. All right. 23 and 1. Matthew chapter 23, verse 1. You have it, say, I have it. If not, say, hold up. Matthew, first book in the New Testament. Right after Malachi. 23, verse 1. It says, Then Jesus spoke to the crowd and to his disciples, saying, the scribes. Now, scribes are the ones that wrote down the word. They scribed it, scribe. All right? The scribes and the Pharisees have seated themselves in the chair of Moses. They have elevated themselves to the law, to the giver of the law. Therefore, all that they tell you, do it. Because what they're telling you is right. And observe, but do not do according to their deeds. For they say things and do not do them. Jesus had a burden for religious systems. Uproot religion. Why? Because religion will make the power of God of none effect. And you can't become religious in your relationship. How many know God hates religion?
Yes.
People ask you in a minute, are you religious? No, I'm not religious. I have a relationship. What? Because religion is man's attempt to appease the wrath of an angry God. Jesus already satisfied that. So we're not religious. So what the Pharisees did, they told the people the law. They gave them the word, but they didn't do it. They did something totally different. Either they would come up short, or they would make it so extreme that people couldn't even do it. They would add stuff that was impossible. And Jesus saying one thing, he said you basically trying to strain the net and drink the camel, I believe. In so many words. The big stuff, you're not dealing with it. This is the little things you're making issues out of. And so Jesus went after this religious system because he understood that's what could cripple the people's faith. They wouldn't have faith to believe what God was doing. They would always be sticking to all these rules and regulations. So you got to be a person that is emphatic about having a burden to deal with religion. Because you work with them. They're in your family. They're all over the place. They're in your church. Because they think they can do stuff to make God happy. They think they can do enough good stuff, Brother Andre, to make God love them. And God demonstrated his love toward us while we were yet sinners. He sent Christ to die for you when you were in your sin, before you were born to sin. So it's nothing we can do that can make him love us more. Amen. So you gotta lose a religious mindset. Well, he loves me just the way I am? Absolutely. That's why I tell people, stop trying to fix yourself. You can't do it. And people always say, well, when I get myself together, I'm going to come to church. That's the dumbest thing you could have said. If you're going to get yourself together, what you need God for? If you could have done it, Jesus didn't have to show up. When I get myself together, that's like I'm gonna take a bath before I come to take a bath.
Yeah.
If you're showing up clean, but that's what people, that's that mentality. I'm gonna get myself together before I get into church. How? Is that even possible? You come to church to learn the ways of God and let the word get in your mind so you can think differently, and that word will clean your life up. You can't get yourself together. We all tried that before Christ.
Amen.
How'd that work for you? Lied more then? Cuss more then? Drunk more? Did more dope? You just act a fool because you can't get yourself together. See, this is the thing. You didn't make yourself.
Okay.
Right.
If you made yourself, you might could deal with yourself. But because you didn't make yourself, you can't fix yourself. I cannot take my iPhone to Samsung.
Yeah, that's good.
Why? Because Samsung didn't make it. They may understand it, but they can't repair it because it's not their brain. And because God is your creator, you have to take your broken self back to the one that created you, because he know how you're supposed to work. But I'm broken. Great. He know you was going to be broken. That's what Jesus died for.